I should start now.
Alright.
Cheese to meet you, and please have a drink. Don't worry, it's on the mouse.
No way. No fucking way.
Alright, Mike, so... well, I will interview you lightly on stuff you did, like Fishing Frenzy and everybody's beloved 8 months quest. It will be mainly about your rendering process and all that stuff, because you're like one of the 3 people who do renders in the entire community, so it's like interesting to see the whole thing behind that, you know?
I feel like I'd have more to answer about renders anyway, since I'm still newish to games, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. Alright, so question 1. Why did you become a FNaFb dev?
I mean, I just liked FNaFb enough. Like, I thought it was, I liked FNaFb for a long time, and going through project files just helped me learn RPG Maker enough to where I wanted to make my own games. A lot of the shit that I have made is just like, it's nowhere, or it's like people have found it since it was on like a GitHub or something that I was a part of, that I didn't necessarily make myself. But a lot of my stuff I don't show a lot of, I'd say.
Alright, fair enough. I also like FNaFb enough to try and make games, that's fair. Do you have any advice for newbie devs?
Keep it simple. Just if you're new to making games in general, you want to start small. You're not gonna make like your magnum opus game as your first try. That's never happened for anybody. Just making like small little projects for like a friend or something is a kind of good way to get into learning how to make games, I'd say. Do it.
Yeah, most of the time newbie devs just think they can make their magnum opus. I can make Eve too. I have no experience, but I can make Eve too. I just need to put enough time and effort into it, and it doesn't end up well most of the time.
Eve took like 4 years. You aren't making a 60-hour game in a year unless you're like freakishly good at development, which I don't think a lot of people are in the FNaFb community.
Or you crunch hard. You crunch so
That
hard
too.
you neglect your sleep schedule, your life in general, just to release 60-hour funny burst for a game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Question 3. Can you explain to me your process of working on a game from start to finish? You know, like Fishing Frenzy, for example.
I mean, Fishing Frenzy just started with wanting to make a small game for the Game Jam, and I worked it around one idea and other ideas I had been working on at the time. Fuck, it's like, it's hard to explain, since it's not something I really like, I think about too hard, if that makes sense.
So it just kind of happened.
I throw shit at the wall, and I see what sticks for me.
Alright, fair enough. Most people do that anyways. What's your favorite game out of the trilogy?
FNaFb 3, CC3 Act 1. I actually playtested that.
Wait, you did?
Yes! I got to... I'm in the special thanks for some shit. I played a version of CC3 Act 1 to where I think the buffs were bugged. Since I think it was always meant to be where you could only have one buff at a time, but that wasn't in the version that I had played, from what I remember.
Do you remember any other differences?
I don't think the random enemies for the game were in there just yet. That was after I played it.
Huh. Interesting. Alright. Do you have a favorite fan game?
The obvious answer is probably Eve, because it's been the game with like the longest development time out there, like the most effort, I'd say, put into a FNaFb game. It's my favorite out of the sheer respect that Ashton and Axel had in wanting to make something like that. If you wanted me to say something other than Eve, I'd probably say PPP. Even with the jank, I still really like that game.
Alright, fair enough. PPP is also my favorite work that Ashley has done. I think despite the bugs, it can still be fun. So, alright, I get that. Why was 8-Month Quest created?
I mean, so deep cut, I guess, if you don't know who I am, I was on the FNaFb development team from like near the start. Whenever Toomsday was doing like sprite work and he was doing like the beginning before other people like Ashen had fully jumped on for FNaFb, I joined like around then. And FNaFb had pretty much become like when is this game getting finished? I feel bad about. I feel kind of bad about making 8-Month Quests now. It's not something I do today. But at the time, it was just like it was out of making just like a joke of how long it took Green Fang to make something in the game. To show something in the game off, I should say. That's why it takes 8 months to get to the first shop.
Oh my god. Alright, I see. Well, that's funny because the next question is, how do you feel about 8-Month Quest's general kind of, how do I put this?
It's notoriety?
Yeah, it's kind of like
Infamousy?
Yeah, it's very infamous and people talk about it, they reference it in their games. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I like that people reference how they reference 8-Month Quests. I like, since it's making fun of how long it took, but it's like, it's something that to where if you didn't know why it exists, it's just funny. It's funny just hearing 8 months, I guess. I think why it's also really infamous is that I don't know a whole lot of people who've actually played 8-Month Quest. They just know the joke that it exists. I haven't heard of many people who've actually played it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, if at least the red surface is not actively attacking Green Fangs, so that's what matters.
I don't want to like. I feel bad since it might look like I'm actively attacking Green Fang, but that's not why I wanted to make something stupid.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not accusing you of attacking Green Flag. I'm just saying at least the way 8 months quest is referenced is not actively hurtful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, question 7. What was your favorite aspect of working on Fishing Frenzy?
My favorite, either writing dialogue or making the battles that I did make. That's kind of like my favorite aspects of working on these games. Is making something that I like enjoy, I guess. Where I think a fight that comes to mind is the Omega Storm fight and how stupidly long I made it. It was made to fucking be. It was made to pad out time. So I felt like at the time when I was making it that the game wasn't long enough.
I see.
For an example of the dialogue, the entire scene where Biles back to life, and he's like pissed at Toy Freddy, then he realizes Golden Freddy is dad. That was one of my favorite things to write. I like writing Toy Freddy in general. He's just an asshole. Go ahead.
He's a psychopath.
Sociopath.
Isn't that the same thing?
I guess so.
Alright, fair enough. Now for the opposite, what was your least favorite aspect?
Voice lines.
Developing. Huh?
Of developing Fishing Frenzy?
Yeah, of developing Fishing Frenzy.
Voice lines. Any game, any aspect of a game, I hate recording voice lines, but I'll still do it. That's generally the thing I leave last. So I don't want to. Recording voice lines takes up. It's easy enough, but it's time consuming. And just it's time consuming, and in the way that I did voice lines at the time for Fishing Frenzy, it was very I couldn't multitask. I couldn't do anything else, if that makes sense.
That's rough.
I couldn't have stimulation.
Alright, that's fair enough. I also hate doing voice lines. Some of my upcoming games have voice lines, and I hate that, and I hate doing that.
It's an important aspect, though, of fuckboys, I'd say.
It is. It really is, but it's also very time consuming. So I get that. I get not liking doing voice lines. Alright, so here's a question I'm curious about. Why did you choose to make Fishing Frenzy 3D?
The short answer is that I was already working on 3D. The long answer is that I wanted to make something that felt distinct from other games. Since other FNaFb games weren't really trying to go for something different like that. There's like a different like vibe to it, I guess. 3D always has like a different vibe to it than a 2D game. And I generally don't like how big I don't like how small MV feels, like how the regular assets feel now after having worked with MV for a long time.
Fair enough. The 3D aspect does help make Fishing Frenzy stand out, but I also feel like without the 3D aspect, it would have still stood out from the crowd, because like the fishing mechanic is also generally unique.
I guess. I felt like the 3D aspect is something that can probably hook people, since it'll look different.
Yeah,
I can get the fishing stuff though.
Speaking of fishing, you see what I did there? Below in the winters.
Yeah. Yeah.
What inspired you to do the fishing aspect?
Every game needs a good fishing minigame. That for an actual answer, I just remember whenever I was writing down like the idea that I had in my head, I just put down Toy Freddy went ice fishing. Why there's an actual fishing minigame though, I didn't want to make grinding. I didn't want to make like random encounters to grind items for. So I just took the fishing minigame from CC and I just used that.
Yeah, my thought smoking forced you
No.
to add a fishing minigame. You hold your gunpoint and when you add in the fucking fishing minigame.
No, I just thought it would be funny.
Okay, well, it was. Alright, so the last Fishing Frenzy related question: how do you feel about Fishing Frenzy winning the jam?
I remember when I wasn't awake whenever the announcement like went out soon then, and I was asleep. But I remember like going to sleep thinking, God, I hope I don't win. So I'd feel it wasn't like I'd feel bad, but it's like it's just I wouldn't know how to feel afterwards, since this is like one of my first tries like putting a full focused serious game out there, I guess. Not like an 8-month quest game. I didn't want that feeling of my first try being the one that was my best, I guess. I didn't want to feel like what my advice earlier was to other people, that my best work was going to be like my first serious work. Now I feel kind of pleased about winning the jam. Like that feeling of I didn't want to win the jam has kind of gone away, and it's just like it's whatever now. I'm happy with Fishing Frenzy as it is. I liked it.
That's what matters, that you're happy with it.
Yup.
But I can relate to that feeling you had of your first attempt being your best, because it's something I constantly deal with. Is every time I release something new, I feel like it flops, because my first attempt was the equivalent of lining in a bottle. So I feel like I'll never reach that kind of high again. So I can't relate to that feeling, but what matters is to not be stuck in such kind of feelings, and just generally accept that if you're happy with the game you made, that's what matters.
Yeah. That's what'll matter to a lot of people at the end of the day, is that they're satisfied with their own work.
Yep. Right. What programs do you use for renders? Do you use MS Paint by any chance?
Fuck no. So what I use is that I use Source Filmmaker, Blender secondarily if I don't have a model for Source Filmmaker, and I used to use Paint.net a lot whenever I'd make something transparent, but now I use Photoshop. I don't know a lot about Blender. Any questions about Blender? I can't really give you a good answer at all.
Well, lucky for you, I don't have any questions related to Blender.
Thank God.
Right. So, alright, so first, second Blender, fuck, random related question. I see your name in credits of FNaFb games a lot of time for helping people out with renders. How has that experience been? You know, collabing with people, getting them renders.
There's only like 3 people I can think of that have specifically asked me for renders. A lot of the stuff that I've made has been like something I'll just post somewhere and I'll just say use it whenever you want, and people just credit me then. I make a lot of like for free use necessarily.
Alright, fair enough. Do you have any scrap renders? Like you started work on something, you went, I don't like this, and you just left it there to rot.
I usually don't work on something unless I've got like a good enough idea for it, or if I'm just like I have something that I need to like go and fix necessarily. I don't have a whole lot of like scrapped things I've done. I have a lot of stuff that I think I haven't sent around anywhere, but it's like it's just really old shit now. It's really old stuff or like really old games that I was going to make that I'm not making anymore.
I see. Out of all the renders you made, do you have a favorite one?
So my current favorite render that I've ever made is my profile picture on GameJolt currently. It's based off of like one of those I don't know where the render itself came from, but it's a render baby, and it's like there's like a green light on one of her sides, and it's just like regular like Stitcher location lighting from like one of the trailers. I'll DM you it real quick. Do you have a good idea? It's that.
Oh hey, that looks kind of familiar.
Gee, I wonder what I was gonna make it for.
I sure wonder.
This was like one of my first times experimenting with a new way to do transparent backgrounds, since it was something I was always fucking annoyed by for SFM, since I used to have to like use a green screen background, and I'd have to like chroma key shit, which I can also DM you a good example of, and I can DM you actually technically a scrapped render of something I was going to make.
I would like to see that. Why? Thank you.
It's just a render of Bucket Bob that I have in my files for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, he looks so goofy. I love him.
I don't like it because like the metal is shining too much on his face. It doesn't look great.
Alright, that's fair. What's the worst experience you had when it came to making a render?
I wouldn't necessarily say I've had a bad experience. I think the technically worst experience that I've had is waiting on somebody when they request me for something, and I have to wait like almost a day or so because like our time zones don't match up at all, or my sleep schedule's just shit. It's more on me than it is on them, since my sleep schedule's ass.
I see. Alright, the big question. Can you explain to me your rendering process? Please pull out SFM and do it now. Don't worry, I'm sure everyone will be fine with watching a 30/2 hour.
I mean, I can half-ass the posing. I'll be real. So does this bot record like video, or is it just audio? Okay,
No,
so I'll just have to record the visual myself then. So I'll have to record it and then edit it down for you. But it's gonna take me like a second. Where the fuck is my screen capture? Alright, I found it. So I won't record my audio, I'll just record a visual. So when I'm making renders, I usually I typically use one session. And it's just like a one case use all session that I use typically for renders. So SFM isn't loading right now because I had it open, but I hadn't like opened the session yet, so it's taking forever for it to load.
I should have seen that coming, actually.
I should have prepared this a bit more beforehand.
Well then,
it'll be fine.
do you want to do some other of the other questions while you wait for SFM?
I mean, what other question do you have? That would make.
You know, I have I have a couple more, like 10.
Hmm.
Like, do you have any advice for people who are starting to use SFM?
Don't learn Blender. unless you don't want to dip your toes into this too far, don't use Blender.
You know what this reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
The Yakuza strategy for Mahjong. The best strategy for Mahjong. Quit.
No, why I say this is because I think if you're going to get into modeling, if you're going to get into like making renders or like 3D work now, Blender is a much better like starting point than SFM. Since with Blender, I've known SFM for so long because Blender is just like Blender just like doesn't make sense in my head. It's like relearning from scratch, if that makes sense.
Right.
They're both very similar in what they do, but they feel very different to work with. Also, the SFM is fully rendered. Well, it's like fully loaded. I can start my process now. So, what I have a model of Toy Chica up currently. I can move it to. I'll move it to Scrap Trap. He's kind of dark right now. So what I started with for the longest time is that I had a lighting session that I had downloaded off of the workshop, and that was just what I had used for like the longest time, for maybe like 2 or 3 years, and I didn't move away from that lighting for very long until like just recently when I started to work on the Plus Shot game, actually. So I wanted to do that game to learn how to make better renders and just SFM in general. So what I'll do is I'll just do the lights that I currently have, just for like shit. There's 4 lights that I use currently from the original like from the original session, and I have like 5 million other lights. I'll send you a screenshot of all the other lights that I have, but you'll see it in the video.
It can't be that many.
You'd be surprised. My shit is cluttered. These are all lights that are not that I use sparingly.
What the fuck?
A lot of these are just copies of one another.
Oh,
how I work is very cluttered. But if I wanted to make something in like the style that I'm currently using right now, what I use currently is what's on that screen right there. I use CC Light 1, and then I use CC Light 2 red middle and red back to get like a red like backdrop, which is looks something like this, as you can see. So, and then what I've done more recently is I started to add like a bit of blue. Oh, too many shattered lights. I gotta do another thing really quick. This won't take like a minute. It's just a script that allows more lights to appear. Is all. So, but once you add the blue into it, it mixes with the red, basically. It just makes the red like less detailed, I guess. And then for like metal, for like metallic things, I usually add like a teal light on top. That's like on top of it, basically. Do I have like a metal character that I can easily show this with? I'll do Withered Foxy. I have one of him. So this is how Withered Foxy looks with the teal light. That's like on top of it if you look at his hand. And then this is it without the teal light. It just pops more to the metal, basically.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But back to Scrap Trap. I'm not gonna like post them very detailed. I'm probably gonna. Usually when I do make my poses, I like to reference it off of like something that already exists. It's easier for me that way. But if I do like make something that just comes to my head, I just do it if I get a good idea. But we'll make his fucking. Do I half-ass the hand, or do I not?
Half-ass it. I'm sure no one will mind. It's just a demonstration.
It's an explanation. But the longest time that I do spend on posing is typically fucking fingers. I'll send you a screenshot explaining why. Oh god. So typically with characters there are, because of how Valve rigs this shit, I believe there's three bones for like each typically. And doing it all is just like very time consuming, and if you fuck up one, you kind of have to fuck with the others to get something that looks good.
That sounds painful.
Yeah. That's why if you look at some of my renders, you can see like I sometimes try to skip doing fingers in general. I don't like it at all. I hate fingers. Yeah. The hand's nearly done. I just gotta put one more down, and then the thumb will. I'll just curve the thumb. With his bone fucking nails. So, and then it'll look something like... Okay, that was a wrong screenshot. It'll look something like that.
Wow. Incredible.
Okay. Okay, I don't want to open up Snippet Sketch. Then typically what I do also like spending a lot of time on is like the facials. So it's what I've been working on usually is a lot of like battle HUD renders where you're only seeing like the face of a character. You're not seeing a whole lot of the body itself. So I try to find a way to give a character expression. But for this, I'm just gonna make the eyes look like shit. We're gonna put the jaw like down so you can see the human jaw. Okay, human jaw. Click human jaw. Okay. We're gonna like leave it like that, and for the front jaw, we're just gonna. Okay, we should leave that one down too. Yeah, that works. Then I just won't move the ear. I don't need to. For a face, you'll just get something like that. And it's just for legs it depends on the model if I do them or not. I'll do the legs. I'll make them very crouched. We'll do it like this. Then for his and we'll move his like spine back a bit so it looks a bit stupider. And for a full render, you just get something like this. That's basically it, to where I'm like, yeah, good enough. So once you do that, it's time to export it. And I just save the session, and then I just do that. This part I'm probably gonna have to like crop out since my actual name is on the output. But SFN. So we just what I just typically do is that I export just like a version with the black background that the map that I use has. That just comes with SFM. And then you just have a version of shit, where is it? You just have a version of said thing. Did I not make a TGA version? Did I not make a PNG version of this? Okay, that's fine. No, it's there. Then that's a full render, basically. But now, if you want a transparent background, what I have to do is that I have to make. The green screen backgrounds that I used to have are just now white backgrounds that I just put down. And then I remove every single light from every single light that I was using. I just remove it. Then you just get like a black. You just get like a black, like pose like that you can easily like crop something out of. And then I make another render. I typically just call it channel for the sake of my sanity. This will take a bit to write to file, but we're nearly done with the process. It doesn't take much longer. So there we go. during this time, typically I'll throw it into Photoshop then. I only use Photoshop for one thing. It's legit just making these transparent backgrounds. And then what you want to do is that you want to take your channel, you want to place it on top of it. You like your channel image, like a white background, like this. I'll send it to you. It'll look like that. And you'll want to just place the layer down. And then on the channels tab that you see right there, you want to like click all of them. So you have all the white. And then you'll want to erase it on the black background. So you get this. And that's how you make a transparent render. That's how I make a transparent render in Source Filmmaker. Then I just quick export it as a PNG. So that usually gets rid of most of the dead space. And then I'll just name it what I had before. And refresh it again, have to scroll all the way down. And where the fuck is it? There it is. That is a render, basically.
Alright, thank you, Mai. I felt that was very insightful.
A lot of the I'll go into more technical details right now. So why if you've talked to me before about Source Filmmaker, or if you've seen me around complain about Source Filmmaker, it's because my session is large because I have so many lights and I'm just a hoarder. So my memory I have a whole lot of memory that gets like stored up. I can probably do this like a lot more easily. I just don't. And if I have too many lights on a session, if the lights are on in a session at one time, that's when it crashes typically, I think. I don't know specifics. But that is the process. That is what I do.
Alright, thank you, Mai, for explaining the process. I feel that was very insightful. I have a couple more questions. They're not source related anymore, but
Yeah.
They are more so related about what you're currently working on and the PPP remake.
Alright.
So, do you ever plan on releasing the PPP remake on Game Jolt?
If I don't have motivation to work on it currently. If I ever find the want to work on it again, I think I might. But otherwise, I probably won't work on it at all. It's not something I'm not highly interested in doing many remakes.
That's fair.
I have most of the work that I did make for PPP, for the PPP remake, was the renders, and that is something that I've actually put out there, and it's in the Game Jolt server. It's in my forum channel. If you ever want to see like the renders that I did make for it, that was like the thing that I really loved making about that remake. But go on.
Why did you choose PPP specifically to remake? Like, you could have, for example, went with Phantom Apparition.
PPP was the first game that I actually contributed renders to, where someone asked me to make renders for it. Since Ashton made that game in a month, and he just needed someone to make something really quick for him. So I just made shit really quick for him. And that's why there's a lot of renders that I've made, if you can notice, in Ashton's games. Why there are so many. So I helped him with PvP, and I've helped him with render shit since.
Fair enough. Have you ever helped someone? Wait, fuck no, wrong one. Actually, no, wait, hold on. Fuck. Alright, I found it. Have you ever thought about remaking other games?
Not really. Unless there's another game jam that has that idea. Not really. No.
Alright, shit, Jam 4. I finally have a team. I don't need to worry about doing anything now. Can you tell me a bit about what you're currently working on? You know, stuff like the FNaFb 4 game that I saw snipping bits and pieces of.
So the FNaFb 4 game is like, it was something that I wanted to work on. Then the game jam that was meant for like the New Year's thing propped up, and I'm like, shit, I gotta make something new for that. So most of the stuff that I wanted to do for the FNaFb 4 game, I kind of put into that other game, and that other game is basically what I've been like slightly working on. But I want to make that game feel like a full-length game, and not something like Fishing Frenzy. So what I'm doing now currently is I'm trying to make like gameplay that I like, and I think that would be fun, and that's currently what I've been working on for maybe the past little bit. If I've done game development, is just like working on that. If you want an idea of that gameplay, if you saw in Fishing Frenzy that you could you could equip your skills, think that, but more in depth. That like there's more to it, basically.
Alright, the last question. What even is the fucking Yakuza parody you're doing?
That's the game I mentioned. It's a name only. It's a name only.
Oh.
I just thought the name was cool, and I wanted to make. I've not necessarily for the longest time, but I've wanted to make a continuation from the official games. Fishing Frenzy is kind of like that. I'd consider it that, since I tried making it feel like that. Fishing Frenzy, this would be more like this other game that I'm kind of working on is it's taking ideas from other continuations that have existed that were official at one point. I want to make my own like FNaFb continuation, I guess. It's a creative idea, I know.
One more question.
No.
Why did you drop out of the New Year's Jam?
I lost motivation for game development for a bit, and there's two games that I really wanted to play at that time, and I was looking at like the release date, like the deadline date for the jam, and I was like, well, I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to play those games and work on a game at the same time. So that's why I dropped out. It just was at a bad time for me. I didn't want to make another game like Fishing Frenzy where I spent a month waking up at like 4 a.m. to work on it. I didn't want to do that again.
Yeah, that's fair. Alright, that's all the questions, Mike. Would you like to say anything to the viewers before I'm dragged in the depths of the rat den?
You'll be cheesed to meet the rats in the rat den. I don't regret my time spent in this community whatsoever. Like, FNaFb was something that I found friends through at a time where I really didn't have friends. And I'm surprised that I've stuck around for as long as I did. It feels crazy that it's been nearly 10 years as of the time that we're recording this. There's definitely times where I've felt like my motivation for working on things, because of just things that happen in the community at times, I can definitely feel like a bit jaded, but I don't regret the time that I spent being a part of the community at all. And just, yeah, I hope you like whatever the fuck we're working on for this anniversary project. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's all I gotta say.
Alright, thank you, Mike, for taking time of your day for the interview. I hope it wasn't stressful.
No, it wasn't stressful.
Alright, I'm glad to hear that. I hope you have a nice day, night, or whatever time it is for you, and
it's like daytime for me.